What's up, Sink Pissers? Josh from the Clearing Waivers podcast coming at you with another episode. We've got a lot to talk about this week. We got Chiefs to talk about. We got Royals making moves. We got some power rankings to go over. We got some F's for fraud, and then we got some shenanigans to get into. We got a new version of the DFA for you this week since we got a heads-up matchup between Brian and Kitty this week. We got a little tweak the rules a little bit, but we still got a fun trivia, new round, a new version of way to go about it. But at this point, first, I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving holiday. I know I ate my fill of the turkey and the sides and what have you. What about you guys?
Oh yeah.
Had a nice dinner at parents' house.
Good. I was responsible and laid low. I don't know why you guys were hanging out with folks. Whatever.
That's true. I'm a real attempting to spread things over here.
You're the one spreading all the hoax rumors. I can just smell it. Classic Kitty there. But like I said, we've got I'm glad everybody had a good Thanksgiving. Sink Pissers, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving as well. But it's time to move on. We're in the Christmas season now. This is Josh's time. This is my time to shine. But yeah, let's just get into it with the waiver or clear the waivers here.
We're clearing the waiver.
My computer is apparently still on vacation. It's moving a little slow, but yeah, clearing the waivers. Let's start off with that Chiefs-Bucs reaction. Kitty, you can take a nap real quick. We'll see you in about 20 minutes.
Sounds good.
Chiefs win in Tampa Bay 27-24, moving to 10-1. There was a couple different standouts here. Brian, I'll hit you first, or what are your standouts for that game?
Well, it was the aggressive air raid that we just love to see as Chiefs fans. Mm-hmm. We finally got to see Tyreek get behind the defense, and even when he didn't get behind the defense a couple of times, Kitty liked to point it out that we underthrew it a time or two, and Tyreek came back and made a play on the ball. He had the ball in the end zone where he fit it through basically the basketball hoop through the defender. After a while, I felt bad for the defensive back. He was just picking on Carlton Davis, that poor guy. I mean,
poor guy.
Just kept attacking him, and the DC would not give him help over the top until basically the second half when they were in a huge hole. So it was fun to watch. They came out aggressive, challenged them way down the field. That's what we've been begging for. That's what we want defenses to let us play like. And it was just fun to watch that first quarter, especially wide open, just complete domination. The only part I didn't like about that first drive was settling for the field goal. Yep. At the end of that. We put it right down their throat, got down to the one. You just like to see them give it to Pat and let him create there. And if they don't get it, then good luck going 99 yards. But
yep.
Other than that, that's just nitpicking on my part on offense at least. And
sure.
I want to see Andy Reid eventually just go full go, all gas, no brakes,
all full send.
Once you pass that 50-yard line, especially, there's no more punting or no more field goals unless it's like 4th and 30. Like we kind of saw one of those possessions this week.
7 different holding penalties in a row will do it to you.
That was a tough drive right there.
Well, that kind of to that point, Pat Mahomes does not cease to amaze me anymore. We think we've seen it all, and then he'll rip off a pass that'll go 60 yards in the air. It'll look like completely overthrow everybody, and look, Tyreek is underneath it, and it's actually underthrown. Thanks, Kitty, for that.
Hey, I'm just glad I can help you guys out, see the game through a non-fan's eyes. So,
sure.
I don't have the rose-colored glasses on, so I'm helping you out.
Kitty brings a sense of levity to our Patrick Mahomes praiser on this podcast. You mentioned that first quarter, Patrick Mahomes did have 229 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. I'm sorry, no. Is that right? No, yeah, that's right for him.
That's Tyreek's line.
Yeah.
Tyreek was 203 and 2 in that first quarter. Patrick ended up with a lot more. Obviously, Tyreek kind of settled down, and like Brian said, they got a little more help with the safety over the top. They kind of put the bottle on him a little bit more, and then it was Travis Kelce time. So it's fun to have those underneath options as well. But there was a time where Kelce was leading the league in receiving, and then quickly that went away and went to Tyreek, and by the end of the game, that was the 1 and 2 leading receivers in the NFL. That has since changed, but it's just really kind of crazy that we're here with potentially Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce at the top of the leaderboards in receptions. Damn you, DK Metcalf. Damn you. The other thing
Damn
about
you,
Patrick-
Jim Schwartz, where it came out that
Yeah.
he pissed off DK before the game.
Uh-huh.
Which-
exactly.
He made that's a made up grudge too, because he said, you know, you remind me of Megatron, but you're not quite there yet. I mean, come on, guy.
Right.
Nobody's
After-
Megatron.
Yep. The other thing about Patrick Mahomes coming into the season, we were talking about Patrick Mahomes possibly being better than that 2018 version that we saw, where he just ran the gamut and just went scorched earth on the entire football league. Through 11 games in 2018, he passed for 3,628 yards, 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and a 117.9 rating. Right now, through 11 games, he's at 3,497 in yards, so just under that pace, 30 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and a 115.5 rating. So he is right there, not quite over that pace, but I think this is about the time that the world started figuring out that Mahomes is not to be trifled with. So we'll have to see how that pace continues or slows down. But 2 interceptions to 30 touchdowns is a lot of fun.
Yes, it sure is.
Yeah.
It is very fun.
I'd like to see numbers on for every quarterback, how many interceptions hit this defenders in the numbers and they drop them.
Uh-huh.
It feels like Mahomes has a few more than most of the other quarterbacks in the league.
He's
somehow.
gotten lucky for sure.
I mean,
a
I
few
do
times.
watch probably just because they're on TV here. I see a lot more Chiefs games, so it feel probably just confirmation bias. I've seen it a few more times from him, but it's crazy that how many defenders just drop for interceptions, not just from him, from any quarterback. It's
Yep.
crazy.
True story. And I think it also seems like there's a lot because a lot of his interceptions come on defensive penalties. So it seems like, well, maybe he's getting bailed out, but he's also making some more risky throws, I think, in those situations too. So
Right.
I guess if you can't beat Patrick Mahomes, you might as well just try to cheat every time and see where that gets you.
To
Like
that
to see.
point, I've noticed myself watching this year, especially since teams have kind of been taking away the over the top more. I find myself, especially in this game, it's pretty obvious when Pat's loading up to go deep. He sets his base and fits that big wind up, and I always move to the edge of my seat and go, he's going up top. And I mean, that just like I hold my breath because it's like something big's coming here potentially. Someone's either wide open or about to make a big play. They don't always hit, but I just find myself, I've never had that reaction to any quarterback I've ever had on my team. And when he loads up to go deep, I get a little, it moves, Josh. It moves a little bit, which it's probably the opposite reaction that the Bucs fans are having this year when they see Tom Brady loading up to go deep, because it's not quite the same effect in Tampa.
They still are at the edge of their seat, but it's already like their hands are already cupped.
It's
They're
kind of
ready to
when
cut that face.
kind of like when Josh Allen starts scrambling and somebody starts tackling him and he starts looking to throw it somewhere, and it's like, no.
Josh Allen, I love that guy. Never a dull moment with that guy.
I'm just so glad he's not my quarterback.
Quick shout out to Tyreek Hill. We kind of mentioned it, 203 yards in the first quarter, 2 touchdowns, and then finished with 269 and 3. But over the last 4 games, he's averaging 146 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns per game. Absolutely going nuts right now, and making defenses pay, and then making them respect him over the top to open up that underneath to Kelsey. And now Watkins, I mean, they're going to have to respect him. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and then McCole Hardman had the one where Pat missed him, and he also dropped it, but he was gone.
Yep.
He was running for 89 yards. So had he touched that, it would have been really nice. But it's just, it's more of the same. Where do you stop? Where do you choose? Where do you pick your spots, and who do you choose to limit? It's tough to make that decision. The other thing that kind of would go the other side of the ball, the defense actually held pretty stout, especially in the first half. That Tampa Bay offense is pretty potent, even though we kind of make jokes and poke fun of Tom Brady. He still is a very good quarterback underneath. He just can't hit that deep ball anymore. Tampa Bay offense at 24 points, lots of yardage. I think they said that between the two quarterbacks, they had over 900 yards total offense between the two, something like that. Since it was a 27-24 game with all those yards, you kind of expected a lot more. But to credit the Chiefs defense, they did turn him over 2 times, and I really kind of give them the credit for shutting the door on them. And they're in the second half, they came out the first 3 possessions of the second half were a field goal, interception, and that kind of opened the door to kind of let that gap a little bit widen a little bit. And really, I think that's really what the difference was in the end of the game. certainly they relaxed there at the end, but it is what it is at that point.
Yeah, and I think we talked about last week how we needed to get some pressure on him because that's the time when he makes bad throws and makes mistakes. And they did really bring pressure. They brought a lot more blitzes, I think, than Spagnuolo usually does. He usually counts on his four guys on the line to generate pressure. That hasn't been happening, and it really didn't happen when we didn't bring a blitz this week too. Frank Clark, once again, had 1 tackle, 1 QB hit. Really a non-factor in the game. Chris Jones kind of had some push up the middle a little bit. Can't hold him over, but they ended up getting credited for 8 quarterback hits across the board. So that's what they're at the end of the day. That's what you're trying to do. So it was a nice team effort as far as bringing exotic blitzes and kind of confuse them a little bit. So I kind of have to keep reminding myself this defense just doesn't be good enough. It doesn't need to be a dominant crew. And when you're going against weapons like Tampa Bay presented, I mean, that first half, like it seemed like a completely different offense than we watched play last week. When I watched that team, like Antonio Brown was just burning dudes left and right. And I was like, damn, I don't think we got the secondary to cover these guys, but I'll be damned if they didn't look out of sync and off timing. And they just looked bad in the first half. And something that stuck out to me, I love to go back after the game and look at on ESPN. It gives you win probability as the game goes along.
Yep.
In the beginning of the second quarter, it was a 91.7 win probability. and even though it became a 3-point game, the win probability for the Chiefs never dropped below 78.6. I found that crazy.
That is wild.
It was a 3-point game with time on the clock. And I couldn't believe that the win probably never dropped below. I don't know if they take into account the teams that are playing or that's just historically what's gone on in the league, but I just thought that was crazy that it never dropped. I thought at least it would sniff somewhere around 60, somewhere a coin flip when you get to a 3-point game with a couple possessions left in the game. But I loved that Andy Reid trusted Pat at the end to milk that clock and not just run it up the fucking center's ass 3 times and punt it. We've seen coaches across the league time and time again do that. They're just scared to turn the ball
time and time again.
Scared to turn the ball over. They finally trusted Pat enough. I love that little play where he came back, found an open lane, ran, picked it up, got down, and they still weren't just conservative, super conservative mode. They let him win the game and didn't give Brady another chance to win it himself. And I thought that was a huge turning point for this team and basically the philosophy, I think, going forward with Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes. I think you're going to see a lot more games like that. Say, we're not going to let the defense, blow this for us. We trust our offense. We trust our QB. Let's go win this game instead of clinging to the edge of our seats,
So let Patrick cook. Is that the?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Is that the new mantra?
Although when they got that they got that going for Russ, he had a tough stretch there.
True. Maybe we're just gonna start on a motto. Just let Patrick. Yeah, I think the only other thing is maybe the Chiefs broke the Bucs because it sure seems like Brady and Bruce Arians are not getting along before the game, and it seems maybe worse now. I saw Brady left a press conference after the game when they asked him about his relationship with Arians, and Arians again threw him under the bus after when he got his shot. So this is exactly how I saw it coming. They're going to be the 2019 Browns.
You called it. I love it.
Yep.
I don't know if they're going to get to that 7-9 or not.
7-9 is really tough at this point.
8-8's still out there.
Yeah. They just need to miss the playoffs. That's all I care about. We'll have to see about that. So next up for the Chiefs is Denver Broncos on Sunday Night Football this Sunday night. Denver's 4-7, coming off a game where they didn't have a quarterback, I was a little upset because I didn't get to watch any of it, but apparently it wasn't much to watch anyways.
No.
But, since then, they've activated all quarterbacks except for Driscoll, who was the culprit in that situation. But even if Drew Lock is back, I don't mean to slander Drew Lock or his Mizzou ties or the fact that he's on my franchise, my dynasty team. But he is 28th in the league in yards per attempt. He is 30th in QBR. He is 31st in quarterback rating, 32nd in completion percentage, and 32nd in interception percentage. And all that while having the 8th lowest sack percentage in the league among quarterbacks. Ooh. It's not the O-line, even though it a lot is, but he just might be bad.
It's possible. I think
Living up to that Mizzou quarterback.
I think those stats might just give you a warning to get rid of him before the season's over.
You want to trade me?
I'm good. After hearing those numbers, I think I'm good, Josh.
Drew Lock for Ryan Fitzmagic, straight up.
I already dropped that guy. Well, prematurely, but whatever.
That bum, yeah. Guess who's back?
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll see how the Sunday Night Football goes. We might touch base on that a little bit later again. Who knows? Who knows what the night holds?
You just hope that there's not a letdown game. We've had two pretty big games the past couple of weeks. They're 14-point favorites according to Vegas, so they should be able to put this game to bed early. So you just hope that they can get a nice clean win, no stress, no big injuries, and we can move along the next week and breathe easy.
I think the injuries is the biggest part there. I don't think if there's a letdown game, even a Chiefs C game should blow the Broncos out of the water. But we'll see. Just keep everybody healthy. That's all. That's all that matters at this point. Let's stay in the NFL. Move on to the next topic. We've all got our prepared NFL power rankings. Last time we did this, they were pretty much all the same. And I don't think there's going to be much difference. I think there's going to be a lot of the same lists on this one as well. Kitty, I'm going to start with you. Give us your top 5 and your power rankings at this point.
Yeah, I would imagine we all have at least 4 of the same teams.
Yep, I think 4 are pretty obvious.
So I'm going Chiefs number 1 still.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what I had last time we did this, and I just don't think there's any reason to knock them down one. I mean, their only losses to a seemingly Raiders team that's only team that can really play well against for 55 minutes a game is the Chiefs for some unknown reason. Nobody else they seem to put up that effort. So I'm going to put Chiefs
CBS
1.
love to throw that graphic in their face about this week last year where they just fell completely apart.
Mm-hmm.
They threw that thing up there 3 or 4 times. I loved it.
That was impressive. So I'm going to go Steelers number 2. I mean, 10-0. What are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
They don't seem to have a loss on their schedule the rest of the way either, which is probably a little disappointing for Chiefs fans because fighting for that, an outside chance Chiefs go 15-1 and get a 2 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Would just be that's a real kick in the goddamn nuts.
Tough break.
Especially when the first year you only have 1 bye week in the playoffs. Or one team gets bye for the first
one
round.
year they institute.
Yeah, you go 15-1 and get
Ravens tomorrow.
And we couldn't even play the NFC East team.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Ravens with RG3 at QB, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Washington, and then they're at the Bills, at the Bengals, against the Colts, and at the Browns.
I mean, yeah.
Well, they're gonna lose 2 of those games.
Maybe the Washington football team can get after him on that front line.
Yeah.
All right. So number 3, I'm going to put Green Bay after that dominating performance against the Bears, who we had been putting up a pretty good defensive effort most weeks of the season, but that was just a old-fashioned ass kicking for the Packers over the Bears. I mean, good Lord. And then I'm going to go, even though I don't like them at all, but they're just doing it every week, get it done. New Orleans Saints. I think this Taysom Hill garbage is crap. I don't buy it. Don't believe it. I mean, you played first week was Atlanta, so at least that's a decent team. They beat. This past week, you get a quarterbackless team to play against. Thanks. That's just a gift from the NFL to give you.
You can only play who's in front of you, man.
Exactly. Yeah, you get a gift that week. So it's just so embarrassing. It's just so terrible. This should not be working in the NFL.
Yep.
And I think Denver would have put up a little better effort had they had a quarterback. And after the first quarter, when they saw, we're not going to complete a pass all day from our quarterback. I mean,
what's the use?
Probably sucks a little wind out of your sails.
Yep.
Out of your sails for that defense. So
just the fact that it was the night before, and like all the coaches had to get together and be like, now what? Jesus, I don't know what to do. Do we punt every time? Do we just punt it?
Can one of us play quarterback?
Yeah, that was such a fun report. They tried.
I mean, could you not cut a guy that night? Hey, Driscoll, you're off the team, and then we're signing this guy tonight. I guess they just wanted to have an emergency guy play. But couldn't you cut number? Couldn't you? I guess there's probably those protocols are in place where you can't
Right.
Yeah.
Anybody they
Players
bring in,
play
it
the
has
next
to be
day.
COVID cleared.
They've
Yep.
got to do their time. So
Yep.
I guess that's why they're trying to get the assistant coach to play QB.
Yes. Yep. Well,
And they used a bad team to set an example, I feel like.
yes.
Right. That's the other thing. Because that's why it didn't, like when the Titans had this, they pushed their games back. And then this, obviously with the Ravens, Steelers are pushing the Ravens games back.
Patriots. Yeah.
Patriots got one too.
Well, the Saints, they went Falcons and Broncos. They go to Atlanta again this week. Then they go to Philly, and then it's against the Chiefs at home. So
That's a
we'll
fun.
see if Drew Brees and I mean, do you see them losing to the Falcons or the Eagles again?
Falcons take them down this week. Book
Yeah,
it.
maybe so.
Woo.
And then number 5 team, and this is really the number 5 team 3/4 of the season. 1/4 of the season, they're the number 15 or 20 team
Uh-huh.
based on good golf or bad golf.
Oh,
So I think with good golf, I've got the Rams at 5. With bad golf, they're 15th in the league. I mean,
Mhm.
when he's bad, holy shit,
It's
is he
re-
bad? I mean, just awful. It doesn't make sense. I don't know what these. I guess probably mostly against the. Seems that the Niners have his number pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
They really seem to.
seemingly so. Yep.
So whatever they're doing, they know they've gotten Goff's head. Teams need to start copying what the 49ers and then what the Patriots did in the Super Bowl against them, because
Mm-hmm.
he's just when he looks bad, that Rams team their offense is just putrid.
Yep. I
So,
agree.
They're my 5 team, but it's only for 12 weeks out of the 16.
Sure. Brian, where are you at?
I got Chiefs number 1, as you would guess. The second best odds to win the Super Bowl belong to the New Orleans Saints.
Yep.
So I'm just going to slot them in there and agree with the guys in the desert. It has nothing to do with Taysom Hill. I feel like Drew Brees is going to be back eventually, and that's what those Super Bowl odds are based on. So I think they're a pretty complete team. Their defense probably doesn't get enough credit. That defensive line can get after you, and secondary can guard guys really well. I think the Saints have really good defense and kind of been carrying them while their offense has been sputtering along, especially the first quarter of the year when they didn't have Michael Thomas to throw to. The offense wasn't great, but the defense kind of held them above water. So let me have them at 2. Steelers at 3. I like their team. I feel like they're going to fuck it up at some point. I'm going to go 4. Packers, super impressive win once again. Super impressive by Rodgers. I mean, the internet loves to shit all over Trubisky. They love to shit all over Nagy. But the Packers did whatever they wanted to that Bears defense. The pride and joy of the Chicago Bears every year just got shredded by their arch nemesis. That had to just be salt on the wound. But God, the Bears are lost right now. Packers look like they're humming. That offensive line gives Rodgers so much time. It's their offensive line went from a bad unit like a couple of years ago to they hold defensive lines really well now.
Yep.
So I think the Packers are dangerous if you give them that much time.
I think a couple of years ago that they had a lot of injuries on that
Yeah, they
offensive
did.
line too,
Yep.
right?
Yep. And they've struggled to find wide receivers since
They
As
haven't
long as-
tried. I mean,
as long as Devontae's healthy, I mean,
Yep.
he gets open every time. Rodgers has more than 2 seconds back there.
it's so wild how open he is all the time. Every of the times he's open.
Yep. And number 5, I got to give a shout out to the Titans. I think that was a super impressive win. They went into Indy and just dominated that game. I do think that DeForest Buckner being gone off that defensive line was a major factor in the running game having so much success. But the Titans offense has just been super impressive when they get the run game rolling and then they can get Corey Davis and A.J. Brown cooking. I mean, they're kind of scary on offense to think about, and their defense does enough. So that Colts team is still a team I think all around is a pretty damn good team. And the Titans just made them look silly on Sunday. So I got to give a shout out to the Titans. They looked really well. So I'll slot them into 5 because 4 to 8 can be a handful. Whoever looks good this last week, like Kitty's Rams, they can look really good like they did against the Bucs, and then they shit the bed. And it's all like you said, it's all about Goff. Sometimes he looks like he's good enough, and sometimes it's like, nope, never gonna trust this guy.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna go with I'm just not gonna trust him.
Titans' only losses came from the Steelers, the Bengals, and the Colts. So
yeah,
they only lose to the teams that are good, apparently. They beat the
That's right.
pants off the Bills and the Texans, beat the Bears, beat the Ravens by 6, and then beat the Colts this week by 19. Yeah, they still have the Packers and the Texans still potentially tough on the schedule. They go against the Browns, who are 8-3. This week, so we'll certainly have to see. My list is very much the same. Chiefs number 1, Steelers. I went Steelers 2, Saints at 3. I saw a tweet today, at least from Field Yates at ESPN, talking about how they are 9-2 and they've only played 2 games where Drew Brees and Michael Thomas were on the field together. So that is very interesting. Very impressive on their front. Next man up, and it never hurts to have Alvin Kamara in your backfield. I had Packers at 4. Like everything's been said, very impressive stuff here lately, and it seems like Rodgers and Devontae Adams are always going to be a connection that is going to be a force to reckon with. And now they have Tavon Austin, guys. I mean, just weapons out the yin yang right now. And my 5th team, I went with Seattle. It's just ridiculous what Russ Wilson and DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are able to do again. And now David Moore is a weapon that is pretty sneaky good as well. The defense has been playing a little bit better as of lately, it seems. Brian. save it, Brian. That's coming up.
I told you they were the frauds. Like I said, this was going to happen. They're going to rack up wins against this shit schedule, and then they're going to be the Packers from last year, and somebody's going to beat the shit out of them in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean their only losses from the Cardinals, Bills, and Rams. So all of those are quality teams. They've beat the Cardinals, they've beat the Niners, whatever you want to say, the Vikings, Dolphins, Cowboys, Patriots, and Falcons.
Exactly.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but you can only beat the team in front of you.
But it's absolutely true. Russ can scare the shit out of you no matter what he's got going.
Yep. For the rest of the schedule is Giants, Jets, Washington. What is this?
They still have all those to play.
And then they in the season against the Rams and then the 49ers. So I mean,
they should. I mean, 5
really
losses
should be a 12-4 team by the end of that, pretty easily, I think.
Yep.
And then a team that Brian, you mentioned 4 to 8 teams could go for that 5th slot. It took me a while to talk myself off of the Miami Dolphins bandwagon.
Let's go.
They've got some interesting developments going on there. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, the Seahawks did beat them a few weeks ago, so I went with them. But they only lost 31-23, and they seem to be winning despite just an inexplicable quarterback change. Inexplicable. Fitzmagic is getting you where you need to be. Tua is a fraud. Super fraud.
That's not the change most people have been going crazy about.
What are you saying?
I mean, ESPN guys were going nuts that they benched Tua at the end of the game and then blamed it on injury when Tua was playing like shit all game.
Right.
So he put in Fitzpatrick to try to salvage that win. And everyone's going crazy. Like, you can't give the keys to Tua and then take him away when he's playing bad. It's like, sure they can. They're trying to make the freaking playoffs, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that what you do when players are playing bad? You take them out?
That's usually how it works.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Tua's a grown man. I think he knows that he's playing bad. It's like,
right.
Hey, I was just cooking out there and you took me out.
So I think they could get real wily here down the stretch. They've got the Bengals, the Chiefs, the Patriots, the Raiders, and the Bills. So we're certainly going to see what they're made of coming through the next 6 weeks. But they could get interesting. We'll see. We'll see.
That defense is something.
Yes, it is.
Playing well.
They've given up 16 points the last 2 weeks. Granted, it was against the Broncos and the Jets, but I mean, it is what it is there. But yeah, their defense looks really, really stout. Spent a lot of money on that secondary. It seems to be paying off.
So you are putting the Dolphins in 5?
No, Dolphins are 6. Seahawks still at 5.
Gotcha.
But I see you, Miami. I see you down there making moves. So we've kind of hinted at a little bit. This week we doubled it up. We usually like to separate the power rankings and the F is for fraud, but this week we're throwing it at you. We figured you got a deep base of food in your tummies, and you can take this extra content that we're giving you. We're doing F is for fraud this week. Brian, I'm gonna start with you. Did you already give it away? Are the Seahawks your F is for fraud, or do you got another one?
Oh, I got another one.
Okay.
And it's Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians is a fraud. He gets hailed as the offensive genius, that his offenses just put up numbers, and they do put up numbers. But I don't know if you saw that graphic the other night that showed all the great quarterbacks that he's coached, and their career highs and turnovers are always with him on offense. And I know they put up yards and they put up points, but they turn the ball over. And if we know anything about the NFL, is most coaches hate turnovers. It just kills your team when you turn the ball over. He doesn't seem to have a problem because he's not changed anything up through the years. He's just going to keep doing it. And it's come full circle now because we see this as it's going down in Tampa Bay now. After they put the quote-unquote GOAT. They brought in the GOAT to run this offense with Bruce Arians. And now after all this unsuccessful, Tom Brady's looking like shit. And I hear the talking heads on ESPN saying, Bruce Arians, why aren't you changing up? Why aren't you adapting? You got the best quarterback to ever play the game. Why aren't you changing up to where he likes to dink and dunk and check down and make quick passes and get the ball out? Why are you still running your offense? And that makes me think, let's go full circle here to the biggest fraud ever. Tom Brady's the biggest fraud ever. He can't. You put him in a new offense, and all of a sudden he's a shitbag. I mean, what are we talking about here? He can't come in and run an offense that counts on deep shots and counts on. He's got weapons all over the place, and he can't fucking make anything happen this year. And they've turned their focus on Bruce Arians and not adjusting to fit Tom Brady. Well, I say to you, everyone wants to tell me he's the greatest quarterback we've ever seen play. He can't play in this system that everyone's put up huge numbers in. He can't play in this system. So that makes me go back and look and say, okay, let's look at this GOAT here. And I'm going to go.
This GOAT here.
I'm going to go. Let's go player to player comparison here. And him and Aaron Rodgers basically started their careers at the age 24, 25, where they got in there. So I went ages 25 to 36, which Rodgers has completed his 36. He's 37 this year. So that's not counting. It's remarkable how they're almost both exactly 64% passing over the years. They're almost both right at 46,000 yards. Rodgers has 22 more touchdowns and 39 fewer interceptions over that span. 39. When we talk about those crazy numbers that Pat's doing with not turning the ball over, that's been Aaron Rodgers in his life. And it's crazy to me. Here's the other big difference. Over that span, Aaron Rodgers has been sacked 137 more times than Tom Brady. 137 more sacks.
Yep.
That's wild to me. 439 to 302. So Aaron Rodgers has been under pressure more than Tom Brady, seemingly. He's turned the ball over way less, scored more touchdowns, but his team won Super Bowl, so we're just supposed to accept that he's the GOAT and move along. Well, this guy's not moving along. Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback we've seen until I think eventually Pat Mahomes becomes that guy, but you're not convincing me that somebody in our generation has been better than Aaron Rodgers. And that's my case, and I'll close it there.
I don't hate that. I'm a big Tom Brady's a fraud guy, and I agree. But the ultimate equalizer in this GOAT argument is the same one that you use for Michael Jordan. It's those rings. Those rings.
Basketball is so different than football, Josh.
All right.
Basketball, you play both sides. You play offense, you play defense. There's fewer players, so you control more of the ball. You control more of what happens. Football, the quarterback gets all the credit when you win or lose. I get that part.
This is not news. I don't know if you know this, but I know what basketball is. You don't need to explain that to me.
And in basketball, you get to quit for 3 years because you're mentally fatigued, and everyone still calls you the greatest because you can't hack it for 3 years in the middle of your career.
Either way, what are we getting into here?
I mean, I think this is where it was always headed.
I mean, is your F is fraud, MJ?
Michael Jordan is my F is for fraud. No, it's about the rings, and that's always going to be the trump factor in this situation is going to be those rings and the fact that it's usually the fan base that's the loudest fan base outside of the stadium that you'll ever see in Boston is raising all hell whenever somebody besmirches Tom Brady's name. So I think both of those two collectively is the reason why Tom Brady is just unanimously the GOAT right now.
Yep. But once again, I want to remind you, my fraud this week, though, is Bruce Arians and not adapting his offense through the years to not turn the ball over as much as he has. He got what? He got his team to the Cardinals. They had incredible weapons as well when Anquan Bolden and Larry Fitzgerald were at
and a quarterback who could throw it 20 yards.
Carsoni and Palmer loved to put the ball in the air.
Yeah.
Kurt Warner loved to put the ball in the air.
But it was just like this. Everybody knew Arians' offense. Everybody knew Tom Brady's skill set. And this was always oil and water. Always. It didn't matter what weapons were around him, no matter what Antonio Brown or Rob Gronkowski were going to bring as well. It was always going to be like this in my head. It was never going to work. But
you called it, Josh.
We'll see. Kitty, what's your F's for fraud this week?
I'm going to the AFC East, and I'm Buffalo Bills. You're my fraud.
Okay.
Let's go.
I've called Josh Allen out. Yep.
These guys, this is paper champions. I don't trust these guys. 12th in offense on DVOA, 17th in defense. And you're 8-3. I mean, that sounds like a 6-6 team to me. If I ever had one. I mean, they've got some good wins. They beat the Rams and Seattle at home, so those are nice. But I mean, you outscore Seattle. Most teams do at home, or should be able to if you're a decent offense. So, I mean, they got blown out by 26 against Tennessee. Chiefs beat them by 10 on that weird. Is that Monday night game still? I think it was still a Monday night. That
Monday afternoon game.
Yep.
Yeah, and then they at Arizona lost by 2. So I mean, they've actually, at least they don't have a bad loss in their schedule. But I just, as BK mentioned earlier, Josh Allen will kill you. He's going to be getting sacked at some point and will throw a stupid pick.
May go backwards.
Sure.
He hasn't done enough. They haven't done anything this year at this point, but this isn't the same team as last year. Last year that defense was stout. This year they're just not getting it done as the same. They look good, 8-3. I'm thinking the Dolphins are gonna pass them up. If the Dolphins can hang on and be within a game here, you're gonna have that last game of the year, Dolphins Bills, could be for the division title. And I'm taking the Dolphins all day on that one.
Yep.
I like it.
At this point, why not?
So Bills are my fraud.
the-
They're gonna be in the playoffs. They're gonna play somebody. Give me whoever's playing the Bills in round 1.
It'll be some AFC South team.
Unless it's fucking Cleveland.
God, I don't want them to make the playoffs either. Media's gonna jump on that bandwagon so fast.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be 2 really mediocre 10-6 teams in the playoffs in the AFC.
Yes, there are. My F is a fraud. I'm actually gonna save it. Maybe it's gonna come up in this next segment.
Okay.
So let's move on to the next segment here. The Royals today, actually, last couple of days, made a couple of signings. Signed Mike Minor. You may recognize him from being with the Royals a few years ago. Signed him today officially after he passed the physical. 2 years, $18 million guaranteed. Option for 2023 is $13 million or a $1 million buyout. My full Mike Minor reaction is you can find it at royalsreview.com. Article just came out today kind of explaining what the signing was and what it wasn't. Seeing some of the theories floating around on Twitter about what it's actually saying. And I say nay. It doesn't really mean all that. Basically, it just is that it's a really good fit. I thought it was a bit expensive. I didn't think he was going to warrant that much, but apparently starting pitchers are going a little bit more than they're being forecasted to. So in the end, it might not be that expensive, but he does provide a lot of flexibility with his pitching staff over the next couple of years. So that is definitely a good thing, whether it be through the rotation, which sounds like they signed him to Dayton Moore said today that they signed him to be a starting pitcher, but we'll see how that goes. But he was really good in the bullpen with the Royals the first time we had him around. So he's not able to get into the bullpen. He can certainly fit in there as well. But I guess, Kitty, let's start with you. What do you think about the Mike Minor signing in particular?
I mean, I think what was it, last week or 2 weeks ago, I was talking about I was looking for the Royals sign some starting pitching, some veteran presence on the mound. So wasn't the guy I initially had in mind, but it seems to me I have no problem with this signing. And again, the way he pitched in the bullpen for the Royals that year, if it as a failed starter experiment, you just throw him in the bullpen. He can just pitch out of there for the next year and a half if you have to. So I like it. It's not a super flashy signing, but that's kind of what you have in Kansas City in these off seasons. You start out with a couple kind of low level guys that you hope will hit. And so I have no problem with this. I like it. And see what happens with him. He's had some really good years. I think there was some rumors about his dip in velocity, so maybe that was just a 1 year aberration. Maybe gets it back in this offseason just because maybe he had some issues with the start, stop, and restart with baseball last year. So
it's tough to pull anything concrete out of last season.
Exactly. I mean, because they started spring training from February to middle of March, and they shut it down. Everyone shut down for 2 months, 3 months, and then they started back up again. And I mean, you get 60 games. Who knows? I feel like you're trying to pull a whole lot of conclusions from last year. You're really reaching for information there.
Yep. It's got to take it with a grain of salt. Brian, what did you think about this?
Well, I liked it a lot for a couple of reasons. That it's not the typical Royals signing of a starting pitching to fill out the rotation. They usually go get a guy that's coming off Tommy John surgery that everyone's kind of given up on. We're going to give him a 1 year deal for $3 million and see what we get. Or we got internal options that we're trying to see what they've got in Jorge Lopez and Glenn Sparkman. They could have done the same thing this year with Junis and thrown him back in the 5 spot and say, well, we'll see what he can bring us. They didn't do that this year. They brought in a guy that's actually pitched well as a starting pitch in the last few years. Like you said, if you throw out last shortened season in 2019, he was very good as a starting pitcher. He was an all-star. He actually got Cy Young votes in 2019. So they're not bringing in a guy that's going to be, let's see what he's got. I mean, he's an established pitcher at this point, whether it be in the bullpen or in the starting rotation. He's kind of shown what he can do. And even though you're not signing a guy to be the AC rotation, they haven't made that move to go get James Shields to make a real run at this. But I do think they are going to give this team a chance to see what they can do in the first half of the season. And it's even if he is a placeholder or if he's in the rotation and you wait and see between him and Duffy who's pitching well and who's struggling, you can send one of those guys to the bullpen. Both those guys have performed well in the bullpen. And so even if his velocity is actually affecting his effectiveness as a starter, we know he's effective in the pen. Duffy's the same way. His velocity's kind of down, but we think that he can probably be really helpful in the bullpen. The bullpen on its own really doesn't need a whole lot of help either. I mean, the bullpen's very exciting. A lot of new young arms that throw some gas. And when you got guys like Duffy and Minor that are seeing guys 2 or 3 times through the lineup, and then you can throw 95 plus at him, 103 if you got Stomont, that's going to look a lot different. Not to mention just lefty righty. It's going to look a lot different to those hitters as they go into those matchups. And so that kind of interests me a little bit. But I just like the overall approach to this, that they actually got a guy that's not a total wild card. He's not a total. Well, if Matt Harvey can find his form again, we can be somebody. It's not Matt Harvey. Matt Harvey sucked for like 3 years before we gave him a chance in the minor league deal. And we kind of had to use him last year, so we did. I'm not holding that against him for what they did this shortened season. But I like the approach here that they've got 5 guys right now that they trust in the rotation. I know Dayton said we need 10 to 12 options. I think with those young arms that are on the verge of being ready, as long as you don't have an injury early, I like this starting 5. And then if one of them is just absolutely beating down the door of this guy is ready and he can dominate pitchers, then you find whoever's not performing and they go to the bullpen, and your team as a whole is just that much stronger. So
that's a best case scenario for sure. Yep. I like it. That's a good point. Let's go to the other one. The other big signing that they've moved and done is Michael A. Taylor gets a 1 year, $1.75 million with $1 million in incentive for performance incentives. I guess, Brian, let's start with you. Where's your head on Michael A. Taylor?
Okay, so you see his numbers, you see the scouting report. So close your eyes with me and picture if you can tell who I'm talking about here. Toolsy. Right-hand hitter, outfielder, once highly regarded prospect with speed. He can play great defense, and he has some serious pop when he connects. But he rarely connects because he strikes out a lot. His batting average is terrible, and he doesn't take walks. Who are you picturing, Josh?
I don't know. Who you got?
That'd be Bubba Starling, Josh. And he
yeah,
already
that makes sense.
is occupying a spot on this 40-man roster. So, I mean, he's got slightly better hitting numbers than Bubba has. Maybe because he's just got a lot more opportunity than Bubba has. I don't know. We've never seriously given Bubba a chance to play every day, but Dayton has decided and declared in the media that he said Matheny's going to set the lineup, but if you're asking me, we're going to give Michael Taylor every day at bats and
Shot to win the starting center fielder job.
And we think that he's going to be playing every day, and that tells me that you've given up on Bubba, right? So why is he still on the roster? 1, 2. This doesn't really do anything. It doesn't change anything for the center field spot. You could put Bubba out there. If you're saying we just want defense from center field, and if he can hit, that's just a bonus. Like, you already had a guy on your roster to do that was your homegrown guy. If you clearly don't believe in him, we've got a kind of a proven bust in Michael Taylor that we're going to bring in. I mean, I don't care about the money. It's like $1.75 million or some shit. So it's not that much money. It's just the idea of it. Whereas I love the idea of the move with Mike Minor. I hate the idea here. I'm okay with going with a defensive-minded center fielder. I said I want a great defensive center fielder on this team. I just don't know why they've just completely given up on Bubba. If you have given up on him, why is he still on this team?
Yep. Good points. Kitty, where are you at with Michael A. Taylor?
Well, I mean, after you said that, giving him every day at bats in center field kind of made me think, oh, that means Witt's going to second base and that Nicky Lopez wet noodle bat's going to the bench. Sign me up. I am ready.
I don't mean to burst your bubble, but I think Witt's headed to right field.
Yeah.
Nope. Second base.
Okay.
So Larry's going to hang out in right still, right?
Sure.
I mean, yeah, Michael Taylor, I was just looking at pulled out the stats here, and 2017, he had a 104 OPS plus. Next highest year, last year was 76. And then 75, 73, 71, 72. He'll get you a 70 OPS plus. So, I mean, yeah, it's just this is, I don't get it. Doesn't make any sense. Like, it makes no sense to me. You've already got enough shitty hitters that can play defense on this roster.
Right.
Why do you need to add more?
And they've already teased to us that they're going to they basically said it but not said it. Michael Franco's probably getting DFA'd, non-tendered. So that's another quality hitter that you're taking out of the lineup. Yep. We're trying to get better hitters in, but we brought a shitty hitter in the center field. We're probably leaving a shitty hitter at second base. We still don't know what's going in left field. Witt can hit, but he's out in right. Mondesi, who the fuck knows what he's going to bring us. And Dayton's talking about still wanting to add middle of the lineup bats, but not spend any money. I don't know how he's going to accomplish that, but we'll see what happens.
That's Mike Franco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's who you already have him too. What are you doing?
Yeah. Well, I have this makes no sense to me in my notes.
All right,
so
there we
Kitty
go.
and I are on the same page. This is where my F is for fraud comes in.
Okay.
My F is for fraud this week is this bullshit mentality that the Royals are going to be contending in 2021. Mike Minor, solid signing. Very good. Not the impact guy that they need to get over that hump, but he's a solid one. For all the reasons we've already talked about, Michael A. Taylor is exactly what we keep throwing out there in the outfield. It's whether it's the recent Alex Gordon, whether it's Billy Hamilton, Chris Owings, Brian Goodwin, Bubba Starling, Brett Phillips, Rosella Herrera, Paulo Orlando, Billy Burns, Abraham Almonte. All of them are the same. They're the same guys, every fucking one of them. And then to a lesser extent, Lucas Duda, Christian Colon, Chester Cuthbert, Ryan Goins. I mean, these are all guys that Dayton loves to bring in to be like the projects. And that's the only money he's going to spend is no money. And we're just going to keep getting the same shit, the same results. We're going to, it's just going to be the same thing. They're all the same. A bit of upside, never shown anything in the major leagues. And where the fan base looks at addition, they look at the addition, they chew on it for a bit, and they eventually convince themselves that this is going to work. And I feel like we're kind of already doing that with Michael A. Taylor. We've seen plenty of articles saying, "Oh, he changed his swing a couple seasons ago, and he actually saw some blah 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 blah." And said player is going to get very limited reps because there's just a logjam of crap in the outfield. They're never going to get any kind of shot. There's going to be 2 or 3 of those guys trying, but they're never going to be the next Lorenzo Cain. Ultimately, someone like Witt or Dozier is going to have to go and move around to fill some kind of defensive spot because they're so shitty. Why can't we just plant our flag into some guy and say, this is it, we're going? It's time. You send the message to this fan base, get them. Jack, do you think Michael A. Taylor's going to bring people out to the ballpark when you're letting them in the end? No. Give us the splash that we're clamoring for. We want to root for this team. The Chiefs are across the parking lot showing us exactly how a small market team is operating. Granted, Brian, you don't have to tell me the differences between football and baseball and their salary cap situations. I don't need that. I am perfectly aware of that. But this Kansas City fan base can support a team that is successful, and it can sustain it if you just stick to the plan and stop trying to get us to eat crap until it is filet mignon. That's it. F is fraud. This is not going to work unless you make some other kind of splash and you surprise us all. It's not going to happen.
So you want me to fansplain to you, or
yes, fansplain to me, please. Give us something to believe in that's not just ifs and buts. Give us, Brian. You said the same thing.
Yep.
I think you should try to trademark logjam of crap for describing the Royals outfield.
It's a backed up toilet.
Go get Puig to play right field and play Witt at second, please.
There we go.
Well, here's the other scenario.
There's your cheap middle of the order bat.
Right. Yep. And that kind of leads us right into it. Brian, you kind of mentioned Michael Franco potentially getting non-tendered. There's some possibilities of Jorge Soler not getting tendered. Both of them, I think, combined, they're estimated to make maybe $14 to $15 million in arbitration salaries for the year. And I think you could probably find a replacement for Michael Franco's bat on the free agent market. But I did find a duo instead of Soler or Franco. The free agent predictions that are out there are kind of saying that maybe Jock Peterson and Carlos Santana are potentially going to demand the same amount of money as those two. Dayton Moore did say at a press conference, actually, to our guy Lynn Worthy, shout out to Lynn Worthy, the KC Star. He brought up the fact that, there's going to be some potential cuts coming up, and Dayton says, quote, "It's likely that we move on from certain players because their financial expectation doesn't align with what we can do in other areas based on this market. So we're looking at that. I don't know how it'll unfold, but we're looking at different things." He was absolutely talking about in-house guys like Franco, potentially like Soler. So I'm going to pose the question to you guys. If you could have Jorge Soler and Michael Franco, or Jock Peterson and Carlos Santana, which side would you rather have for the next couple seasons? Kitty, let's start with you.
I'm going to go with Peterson Santana side.
Okay.
Franco, as good as he was last year, he's still 94 career OPS plus. I mean, and his defense doesn't feel like it's that great either. So he's not bringing a whole lot at that third base position. We could always move Dozier over there if we need to, if we sign these other guys. And Soler, I mean, he's basically, him and Peterson have pretty similar OPS plus numbers. And that 48 home run season from Soler, I mean, that was
an anomaly.
Home run per fly ball was close to, I looked up today, I think it was 28.7%. You go on to his average seasons right around 19 to 20. That puts him at 32 home runs, which doesn't really sound that impressive anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Carlos Santana seems like he's ancient, but he's 35. He's getting up there.
Yep.
You throw him at first base or potentially DH, I think, and then with Jock Peterson man in the outfield, I think that's a much better combo players than Soler and Frank, and I think it also extends your lineup a little more. Plus, you got Hannah switch hitting, so
yep,
I can line up better with those two.
Okay, makes sense. Brian, where are you at? Which duo you want?
First, I want to say it was no mistake. It was totally on purpose that Dayton leaked that kind of information the day or two before non-tender deadline. I think he's putting Franco on blast and saying, "Look around the league, bud. See how many third base jobs are open right now. This is why you came to us in the first place, because you could get ABs with us. Look around. You can put your feelers out now if you want to. There's not many third base jobs open out there that are going to pay you more than what we're talking about right here. So I don't think it was any mistake that he leaked that stuff out, and it was no mistake that he told Flanagan that Dozier needs to be ready to play third base. So we'll see what happens, because he left it open and say we'll see what happens type of thing. But I think he's doing a little public negotiating there and seeing if Franco's going to come back to the table with a little lower number than he had before. But to your question, I hate the idea of not having Soler, because he's one of my favorite guys to watch mash home runs. His swing is beautiful, it's effortless, and he just crushes piss missiles out of Kauffman Stadium, which is not easy to do. But I think it's pretty clear that Franco's the worst of the four guys in this conversation, and I can't convince myself that Soler's the best of these four, if you're being honest, across the board, and on knowing what you're going to get out of the guys. I think Peterson Santana is the safer pick. I think that you know what you're going to get out of them production-wise. Santana, I mean, that guy's just produced year in and year out.
Yep.
He gives you over 100 OPS plus every year, seemingly. Peterson will make you frustrated if you just look at the batting average, but all the rest of the numbers make you like him a lot, and he plays defense unlike Soler. So I got to go with the outsiders and send off our boys.
Yep. I am also in that boat. I guess Steamer projections have Peterson at 842 OPS this coming season, 29 home runs, plays an average defense in left field, probably actually a right-handed platoon hitter against right-handed pitching. So I think you can actually maximize the value from him, maybe get some kind of rotation in there so you don't have to worry about him against lefties.
So you platoon with Bubba, right?
Sure. Yeah. Or Olivares would be fine with me, but he's probably going to go down. That's another thing. Franchi and Olivares, I still think they need to get plenty of run, but whatever. And then Santana's projected to have an 803 OPS with 26 dingers. Again, average defense at first base. You slide Dozier over to third base, and you got like a corner rotation of Dozier and Santana, and then Kelvin Gutierrez. I think that's a solid rotation, because, like you said, Soler doesn't play defense. He's injury prone. He's going to cost around $8 million. And I feel like you can get more value out of that outside of just the power, which is, like Brian said, very impressive. Not that I don't like Soler, and I don't think any of us, it's not like that for any of us, but it just seems like the idea of it is OBP, lengthen the lineup. There's some pop in there already, and then you bring in Jacques Peterson and Carlos Santana and add a little bit more pop to it, and you probably get a little more home runs out of it, and potentially as well. So I think I'm also talked into the Santana and Peterson, go get them. Or like Brian said, bring in Puig, or bring in Peterson and Puig. Puig can't cost much at this point. Bringing him in for lefties.
We've exhausted the Dayton quote about we got to add OBP guys when their first signing of a bat is Michael Taylor with this isn't adding up, and now he's doubled down on it and say we need to add a bat or two in the middle of this lineup. So let's see what that means.
Right. He also has mentioned, I've seen that he would like to have two guys that can play really good defense in center field. Michael Taylor's obviously one of those. Who's the second one he's talking about? Bubba Starling? Franchi Cordero? No.
Maybe
Nick Merrifield was really bad in center field. We'll see. Maybe Nick Heath. I have doubts, but maybe.
Yeah. And
he plays
Puig is
really
actually
good
one of
defense.
those. Puig's one of those guys that has the somewhat of a reverse platoon split. He actually slugs better against righty, so you can bring in another righty with him and
good point. Never mind. Don't get Puig. Just bring in Jacques Peterson.
Gerard Dyson's coming back.
Yeah. I wouldn't. I mean, there are worse ways to do that. He still plays a decent center field, I think.
I love Dyson.
So I think his splits last year were not great, but like
he's
said,
like my age too.
Can't talk about it. Yeah. Bring Dice home. Bring Wade Davis back. Let's just get the whole band back together.
Yeah.
Trade for Locane. Let's do this. But tomorrow is the big decision on the non-tendering guys. So there could be some big changes ahead, or it could just be one guy that is somewhat replaceable, and hopefully we can replace his bat with some a little bit more consistency. But I think that's it for the clearing the waivers. just under an hour, maybe around an hour. So I hope you're still with us. We're going to move on to shenanigans. Like I said, we've got the DFA coming up, and it's got a little bit of a tweak. So let's get into it.
Yeah, it's time to play DFA.
So we've got a different set of rules here. We're still shooting for the 3 strikes rule. There's 3 strikes themes, 3 options, but this time we're going to play a little bit Family Feud style. I'm going to pin Brian and Kitty up against each other, and I've got 3 rounds where they've already got the rules. We're going to have a showdown. That's going to determine who plays or passes. I've got the categories here, and then we're going to go by points of the stat. So each category is a stat in sports, and then whatever correct guesses are said, that will be the number of points you get. You'll be able to see from these categories. It's going to work out. The math is just spotless, and chef's kiss. It was fantastic. So
We know how that goes with your math.
this is all going to go well. Yeah, it's a spotless record on my part. These games are just I don't know why they're not being stolen by every podcast out there at this point. But I'm going to give you the category, and then you guys are going to give me the name, your name, to buzz in, and you're going to get the first to guess. So you're going to shoot for the top answer of the category. Any questions?
I think let's do it. Let's have some fun.
Flawless.
Okay. And I'm going to move these. We're going to move along because we got 3
Yep.
rounds to run through here. So
Okay.
let's not bore all the audience again. First category that you're going to give me the top answer for is the top 6 players in home runs in 2020 in the American League.
Ryan.
Go.
Giancarlo.
Not on this.
No.
Nope. Kitty, do you have an answer?
Luke Voigt.
Yeah.
Voigt
That was
is
the one.
winner. That's correct. 22 home runs. So there's 22 points on the board so far. Kitty, do you want to play or pass?
I'm gonna pass this one.
Oh no.
That's a good strategy, I think.
Top 6.
I think that's a good strategy.
Well, we got 5 left. I got you one
All
for
right,
you.
Brian, you got 5 left. Who you got?
Give me Mike Trout.
Trout is on here, 17. He was 3rd.
3rd. Shit. This is gonna be tough to fuck by myself.
That's the worst part about it. Yeah.
Oh my god. How about Eloy Jimenez?
No, not on here.
Well, that's a lie.
That's your first option.
How about his teammate Lewis Roberts?
That's your second option.
Okay.
Oh wow.
I'm trying to be quick here, Josh. Just for
Yep,
you.
I appreciate it. I was just looking for the stopwatch on my my phone here. Just to,
Give me the can I get a division or something?
no.
Oh god. Not even on the 3rd option. So it's probably in the oh god. I hate this game.
3, 2, 1.
JD Martinez.
Not on this list. Okay. So, Kitty, there are currently 39 points on the board. Can you give me one of the 4 remaining names?
I'm gonna go with George Springer.
Not on this list. Brian gets the points.
Hey!
39 points for Brian so far.
Dang it.
Love this game.
How about the American League MVP, guys?
Who was that?
it?
Jose Abreu,
Oh, yeah.
19
okay.
dingers.
Yes, he did. Had a great year.
The other Jose Ramirez, 17 dingers.
Nice
Joe
year.
ran about that, huh?
The timeless Nelson Cruz came in at tied
That
for 5th,
Old
16
man
home
still
runs.
doing it. Still doing it.
And the one you guys were never going to get was Teoscar Hernandez, also hit 16 dongs. He went on a tear.
Yeah, we were
man.
never getting that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not getting him.
But Brian,
Nelson-
off to
Nelson
a
Cruz
rousing
is
start.
Nelson Cruz. Anytime it's a home run question, AO, you just say Nelson Cruz.
Yes,
I don't think anyone
always.
disappointed.
Yep.
That's a big miss by us.
Tale as old as time there.
That's right.
Brian's in the lead, 39 points, but just like this is kind of all set up in regular Family Feud where there's bonuses every round, but they're
Round's
going to
gonna be
step
something.
up this next one here. Round 2, get ready on your buzzers.
Yep.
Hand behind your backs, by the way, just like they do at Family
sorry.
Feud for
Sorry, man.
whatever reason. Round 2 is points per game in the 2020 NBA playoffs, the bubble. Top 5
Brian.
Go.
Donovan Mitchell.
He was the leader at 36 points, 36.3 points per game. Donovan Mitchell, your boy, Kitty, and you missed him.
I know.
Unbelievable. Brian, you want to play or pass this?
Did you say top 5?
Top 5.
So he's got to say 4 names.
Yep.
I'm going to pass it to him.
Passing. Kitty, what have you got for the NBA playoffs points per game as he Googles all the answers?
I'm going to go with Jamal Murray.
That is incorrect.
Oh, he's scoring so many points against the Jazz every game.
Mm-hmm.
No.
How do you not make it? Let's go with AD.
Not on this list. I think he was number 6 or 7. Not on here, though.
Of course he was.
Final option left.
LeBron.
He was number 6, so he is just out as well. Tough round.
No.
I will say these are really tough, but maybe it's just because I'm not an NBA guy. Brian, to steal 36.3 points.
Dang it.
How about Dame Lillard?
That is incorrect. No Dame Lillard on here. Kitty gets 36.3 points. And
it was based on average, right?
Game here.
Wonder if it
points
was.
per game.
Wonder if they capped it. Usually the playoff numbers they don't give you.
There was no minimum requirement.
Minimum
No.
games,
Harden?
Yeah.
Harden is number 4, 29.6.
I had him.
Luka Doncic,
Yeah.
31. Joel Embiid in the
Really?
Ooh.
3 or 4 games they played, he scored 30 points a game. And then number 5 was Kawhi Leonard at 28.2.
That's shocking.
Wow.
Yep. It helped. A lot of those were early exits. So
Another
that
stupid-
has
Well, that's
something
my
to do with
thinking
it.
on Dame. I thought he had a nice series.
Right. I would have thought Murray
Yep.
did it. Guess he just must have flamed out that last series.
Yeah, no kidding.
The fun part about this is it's down to the final round, which is
Yep.
exactly what I was going for here. It's 39 to 36.3. Round 3 is going to be the category hand-on buzzers. The top rushers in Week 12 in the NFL in the NFC,
Why did you qualify that?
because Derrick Henry was too easy.
Oh, sure. That was the tip of my tongue. NFC rushers. Then they weren't very many good ones. I don't even want to buzz in.
Kitty.
Go.
Cam Akers.
Nope. I like the guess, though.
So I get a guess.
Yep.
How about Latavius Murray?
Latavius Murray was number 1 at 124.
Fuck. Forgot about it.
How many of them are you looking for?
Entirely. 3.
How many guys?
Top 3, and you already have 1. So are you
3.
playing or passing?
Shit. I mean, the top 3. I got to play, right? I hate it. I absolutely hate it, but I got to play.
Okay.
Oh, God.
This is ballsy.
I mean, some of the guys didn't even play. Some of the top guys, I should say. They sucked. Don't know if he had you said rushing yards only, right?
Yep, just rushing yards.
He had 2 touchdowns, but not a great. Kenyon Drake.
Nope, no Kenyon Drake. He did have 2 touchdowns, though. You're right.
All right.
1 strike, 1 option.
How about the great fill-in, Mike Davis?
Great guess. Not in here either.
Mike Davis.
I would have loved for him to have done it, though.
And we're still sucking here. Saints. The Bucks couldn't run all day. NFC East.
Rojo had a couple of big runs, but they all got called back because the Bucks are cheaters.
Yeah, that's true. NFC East, I feel like didn't have a huge week. NFC North, I don't think Aaron Jones had a great night. He had a pretty decent day. I've only got one name right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised it was Latavius Murray.
Yeah.
That's a good pull. I like that. That was
Yep.
impressive.
Dalvin didn't play, right?
He did.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see his name much.
Yeah, he left with an injury, but he was in there.
We didn't see much from the Seahawks running backs. We didn't see much. Just go through all of them,
Yeah,
Josh.
we're going through all of them.
Hey, you're
Give
getting them
me
all.
Aaron Jones.
That's not correct.
Okay.
Kitty, you have two names here. Have you got one?
I'm going to Thanksgiving, and I'm going to go Antonio Gibson.
Oh, great pull.
That's correct. He
Yes!
was number 2 at 115 yards. Kitty is the winner of the DFA for the week.
Thanksgiving
right.
just gets wiped from my brain.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I was trying to remember. Was that this week?
Yeah. Because I told you guys they fired Matt Patricia, and I'm like, they're firing him a day before Sunday? That doesn't make any sense. Totally wiped out. Detroit played Thursday.
You were the one who caught it, though. All of us had done
I was
the
like,
same
wait a
thing.
minute.
You were the first one to catch it.
Nobody would
that
fire
makes
their
no
head coach
sense.
the day before the game.
Or their GM. Yeah, they both got
axed.
the one that probably could have been fresh in your memory, but you quietly had a long rushing game was David Montgomery went for 103.
No way.
Yep.
Oh, he had that really long run, like 60-yard run,
Yep.
or whatever it was.
He
Early in
did.
the game.
Kitty
Good game.
with the big win this week.
Oof, those are tough. I mean, it's just
Those were tough. I probably need to
Especially
lighten
when
them
you're-
up a little bit.
when you're by yourself, it makes it tougher. That's just so it's
Right.
just kind of
Yep.
because once you get one strike, you're like, oh no, this sucks.
But do we like the tweak for the heads up?
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
I like it.
I think so.
Worked
too.
out well.
We'll see how it goes. We'll see what the sync is. Let us know, Sync Pisters, what you think of that new variation to it. We'll see how you think about it. Let's move on to the next shenanigan, the keep trade cut.
Just keep trade cut, gonna give it to you. It's Tuesday night, we're in the spot. Yeah, don't believe, but just watch.
So this one was a little bit of kind of a shout out to a few different ways. This, of course, we showed our little daughter the Giving Day parade, and she loved it. Obviously, even as really strange. But we also saw that Sam Mellinger for the KC Star was talking about the plaza lighting being incredibly overrated and just catching all the hell for it. I think that was unfair. So we're kind of combining everything. We're keep trading and cutting a few Kansas City local events with the plaza lighting on Thanksgiving night, the New Year's Eve at Power and Light District, or the Snake Parade in Brookside. And Kitty, since you won DFA, you're going to lead us off here in your keep trade cut. What do you got?
Yeah, a couple of these are pretty real neck and neck for me on keeping or cutting. So, but I'm going to actually keep the plaza lighting ceremony.
Whoa.
Okay.
Doesn't take much time.
Upset City.
You get down there, find a spot wherever you want. Switch gets flipped. I'm going to the bar. So it's really just a prelude to drinking at the bar somewhere in the plaza that night. So to me, it's just it doesn't take much time for anything to go down there. I mean, you stand around maybe for 45 minutes to an hour waiting for it to get going, which that's not too bad. So I'll take that. I mean, it's instantaneous. Lights go on. Hey, there we go. Lights are on. Cool. Then we can go. Then you go do something else.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to cut the Snake Parade. It's fun. Fun for a parade. I mean, it's just a little small, minor thing here in Kansas City. So it's not like a ridiculous, like the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade. And it seems to be another just, all right, when's this going to end so I can go drink at the bar? Come on. Where's the last float? Let's get out of here. But it just feels like it takes a lot longer than the plaza lighting. So that's why I'm going to cut the Snake Parade. And I am trading New Year's Eve at P&L because, no, too crowded, too expensive. What I'm gonna take back and trade for is I have never done it. Sounds interesting. I'm gonna go on the 90-minute gangster tour of Kansas City.
Yes.
Where they take you either on a bus or a trolley around some of the hot spots from back in the 20s through 40s of kind of the Kansas City mob scene back in the day. So
see how factual Fargo was.
Hell yeah.
Exactly. There you go. I think that'd be kind of an interesting little tour. And I think the people that are going to New Year's Eve at P&L are not going to go on that tour. So I think they'll be happy to trade that with me.
True.
I think that's right.
True. Yeah. That's pretty solid. I mean, I think that keeping of the Plaza lighting is like I said, upset of the century on this podcast. I think this. Brian, what do you have on the DFA or I'm sorry, the keep trade cut?
I think Mellinger is absolutely right. The Plaza lighting, not only overrated, it flat out stinks. Josh and I tried it one year.
Yeah.
We drove down there. It's mayhem to try to find a spot to park. It's usually cold as balls out there. So you try to shimmy into the middle where you can, what are we trying to see again? There's a stage at the end of the run where there's people talking that we can't hear. Maybe there's a music going on that we can't hear. Meanwhile, the streets are just flooded with humans, kids running around screaming. Oh, you have to pee? Oh, there's no place to pee around here. You might find that
None.
dark
Zero.
There's a porta potty in this dark alley over here. If you'd like to go down this dark alley and pee in a porta potty, which there gets a point where you're desperate enough to go pee in the porta potty. So somebody where you're waiting on them to get back from the porta potty. Meanwhile, they come back. Oh, here comes the countdown. Get to 1, 0. Lights come on. Yay. This is what we came and stood in the cold for. The lights turned on, Josh. Hooray.
Yeah, they did. Sure
okay,
did.
So now it's time everyone just scoots out of here. So you wait in traffic for another hour and a half to get out of there. I don't know. I don't know what bars Kitty was going to because there was no bars open the time we tried to do it. It was just a matter of everybody trying to get back to their car and get out of that hellhole. And I couldn't be more relieved when we left that lighting ceremony. That was terrible. So an easy cut to me.
Pour one out for Tom Fulleries before we went that night.
I don't think we could have got there if we tried.
Rest in peace.
I am right there with Kitty, though, on trading New Year's Eve. I think there's plenty of people out there that value that and have fun at that. It ain't us. It ain't us in this podcast. We don't like crowds that are just overly drunk and you can't get a beer, you can't get a drink, you can't get to the bathroom. It's just crowd on crowd on crowd. New Year's Eve, the most overrated day of the year. I want to trade that for the American Royal Barbecue because even though there's a nice crowd, there's a beautiful scent in the air and samples and stuff like that. So I will gladly trade that. And kind of like Kitty said, I think the people going to New Year's Eve Power Night probably don't care about going to American Royal Barbecue. So I think I can make that trade. But I'm keeping Snake Parade in Brookside for the same reasons Kitty keeping his lighting ceremony because the bars are right there. There's multiple bars right there. You can even skip the parade if you want to. I've done it many times. And you don't have to worry about traffic afterwards because you're at the bar for the next couple hours. So I'll take the Brookside Parade, keep that all day. We're going every time we can. We've gone when it's raining. We just go into Brooksider, have some drinks, walk out a block, and you can see the parade if you want to see the parade, and then you're back in the bar. So that's of all these events, that's what I want to go to.
Yep. Makes a lot of sense. I went pretty much the same as Brian, cutting that plaza lighting. All the reasons. The one you haven't mentioned though is the fact that you have to park 2 miles away.
Yep.
You walk to the event, you get let down with that, and then you walk back for another 2 miles, but this time it's uphill. So you've been standing around for 3 hours, and now you have to walk 2 miles uphill the whole time.
Yep.
It's like that is the last thing I want to do when I'm stuffed my stupid gut full of Thanksgiving turkey and everything that day. So cut the plaza lighting altogether. It's not worth it. Get it out. It's even worse on television. They did the virtual one this year. It was even worse. Like I may have been on my couch, but it was just nothing. It was nothing. I am also trading New Year's Eve at Power and Light because it's just a snake pit of bodily fluids, but a lot of people like that. So whatever. And I'm going to trade for the Irish Fest at Crown Center. Usually really solid beer choices, usually some Irish whiskey, which I love me some, live music, good food. Usually the weather's really nice with it being in March. Wait, it's not in March, is it? It's in August. Yeah.
You got me. I think it's
I don't know.
more closer. Maybe June time frame.
Yeah, it's over the summer.
I thought it was August because it's around a birthday.
It's a Labor Day weekend.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, so early September. Well, that's fine. I mean, it's usually pretty pleasant. Sometimes it's a little bit rainy, but it's a refreshing rain. So I do love me some Irish Fest there at Crown Center. keeping the Snake Parade as well for all the reasons that Brian said. Not to brag, but in the 2019 Snake Parade, I did shake Quentin Lucas's hand, so we're pretty much best friends now.
Yep.
And yeah, you can walk to the bars afterwards, or you can just still drink in public if you want for a little bit longer, or you can befriend one of these people that have these yard parties.
Yes.
And I mean, at that point, you're just all bets are off. The day is yours to be had. At
You
that
kind
point,
of just
so
you sneak a few feet off the sidewalks. Oh, I'm just at this house drinking on the street.
or you act like you're on the phone.
Josh Kitty with his selection just pissed off Patty and Stu so badly. I think they're gonna come for his neck because they lived right down there.
They did live right there. It was that was I did
Invite rescinded.
hang out with them sometimes, but they don't live there anymore. So that's it. I could piss them off. No,
Well,
we're good.
Yeah, no harm, no foul then.
Yeah.
Well, that's gonna do it for the Keep Trade Cut. I thought it was pretty solid with the KC local events. There are some good events, but
I actually just thought
those
of
aren't
one
any of
that
them.
I would like to trade for instead, if just as a other
Oh,
possibility for people to want to look at
Give it
for
to us.
trading for New Year's Eve. You know, it's basically a drinking day. Go to Boulevardia.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
That's a nice little big drinking day. Get a bunch of samples, get a bunch of beer samples, and also you'll have local food vendors out there as well. So that's a really
Bands.
nice event, and their bands playing out throughout the day by Kemper Arena there. So that's a real nice
I've heard that
double day event.
unlike other beer fests and stuff, the lines aren't really that outlandish at Boulevardia.
No, I don't think they don't do a real whole sell for anybody that wants to buy a ticket. I think they have to limit because it's not as crazy as I think,
I see.
as it could be.
Right.
They do have a VIP hour for an hour, but so if you want to spend a little extra money, you get an hour with less people in there, so you can really get all the
Interesting.
samples you need there at that point. So
Interesting. Or you can just go to the Boulevard Tasting Room on a Wednesday.
that's true.
Well, let's move on to the waiver wire draft. We've got another good one here for you.
Watch your waiver wire.
This week we are doing waiver wire draft of everybody's dream. Every guy's dream is a man cave. They all need that little escape in their own home to get away from everything else. It's your space. It's yours. It's designated, and you're going to entertain some guests. You're going to be down there on Saturday night drinking by yourself. Kind of run the gamut on what your life could be in a man cave. So we're going to draft the elements or the items that you can put in your man cave, your dream man cave. We're going to have 4 rounds per usual. Kitty, you are the winner of DFA, so you're going to go first. What is your number 1 pick in the man cave draft?
I'm gonna go TVs.
Yep.
Yep. Gotta have
be
the
number 1 with
TV
all of us.
that are. If you don't have the TVs, what's the point of having a man cave? You're supposed to be down there watching sports. That's the whole purpose of a man cave, I thought, or doing something else in your man cave besides sports. But you need the TVs for any activity you have in a man cave.
Sure.
I didn't want to give any other picks away if I went too far on that.
Sure. No.
So it's all about the TVs in a man cave.
I think that's pretty true. I'm gonna regret giving Brian the second pick here, but Brian, what's your second pick?
I don't know if you're gonna regret it, Josh.
Okay.
I don't know, because I think, me personally, he can have multiples, you can have one, but Daddy's got to have his rocking recliner chair to watch games in. I mean, it would be nice if I could provide a ton of recliners for all my friends, but I don't care about them as long as I get my reclining rocking chair.
Yep.
Multiple TVs is number 1 for all of us, I think, right?
Sure. Yep.
I got rocking recliner as my number 2.
Certainly on my draft board. It's a must for anywhere I'm spending time. I thought for sure you were going to take another TV, but I want the big projector TV.
Oh,
It's like if I can't have a multiple TV selection, I'm going to have the main TV putting on just really good, really large picture. So I need a projector TV in my man cave.
That's true. That's good. Yeah.
I think you could also do picture in picture with it, so you can kind of create the illusion of multiple TVs without having to do it. They're just really expensive.
Oh yeah, that's the way to go if you can do it.
Yeah.
My second pick, every man cave has got to have a stocked bar. So I need a bar with the bar stools, got all the alcohol, some fun sports memorabilia or a neon sign.
Whoa,
maybe.
whoa.
Sorry,
You can't take like 17 items.
I'm just it's
What are you
goes
doing?
into a
What are
bar.
you
It just-
doing? What
it's
are
all
you
the
doing?
accoutrement.
No,
You only
goes
get one
into
of
a
those.
bar.
I want a fully stocked bar. I want bartenders. I want a bar. I want stools.
Strippers.
I need janitors. Someone chef, a personal chef. I need
Someone
everything.
doing
I was
coat
gonna say,
checks.
I need
I need a
a
bar.
fryer.
Come
I need
on.
to create all
What
the
are
bar
you-
food.
What are you doing?
An open sports bar, just playing it right in my man cave with my TV projector.
Taking 17 picks in one.
The audacity.
Brian, back to you.
Okay. I think it's a must. If you're gonna do a baller man cave, you need built-in beer taps.
Mm-hmm.
So give me the built-in beer taps. I mean, if you can have like 3 or 4, people are gonna come to your house for every game under the sun. I feel like.
Yep.
I mean, you've got your bar. A lot of people have bars. If you've got lines running for 3 or 4 beer taps, I mean, that's special, buddy. So I'm going to
Sure.
take the beer taps second. Third.
Hold on.
Oh,
Wait,
yeah.
no, you're on
I'm
the
in the
turn.
middle. I'm in the
Yep.
middle.
This goes back to me here.
Yep.
I'm glad you stopped me. I was way too excited about it.
So I think Josh basically
Stole 3 and 4 from you.
did he take wet bar stools? Is that what he is he have basically a wet bar is what he got?
Yes.
I think
Yep.
that's
Okay.
fair. I had wet bar in there as well.
Okay. I'll
I
take
think
that
that
one.
is key.
Right.
It doesn't
I agree.
necessarily need to be wet though, right? It could just, I mean, it doesn't need water line to be awesome.
I mean, if
Sure.
you're taking bar, just make it a wet bar.
All right.
That way you can clean your glasses and all that.
True.
We would be
sorry.
assholes if we took wet bar after you took bar.
I would agree with that.
That's
So
something
let's
I
just
would
picture
do.
you have a wet bar.
So since you're taking taps on a
Half shell.
bar and he's got the wet bar, I got to take a kegerator.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Had one of those in college. Oh man, that's nice. That is just
Yeah.
nice. Oh, it's 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. You know what? I need a frosty mug and just a beer out of a keg. That just is a nice way to spend your days.
Uh-huh.
So, give me the kegerator.
My only question about those picks is, and in college you probably didn't have any issue, but would you be able to drink the beer fast enough for the beer not to go say stale on you?
I think
Depend-
if you do the kegerator correctly, you're not just tapping a keg and throwing beer out of it. You're doing all that. You're doing the extra with the CO2 and all
Yeah.
that. So you're
Mm,
keeping
I
the
see.
you're keeping the keg fresh that way. You're not just well, tapped it on Tuesday. I better get this done by Sunday.
Get
Otherwise,
to
we're
drinking,
screwed.
guys. That's a good point.
Because I do remember that. That was we've done we had a party, and so we basically were just saving up 2 liters, milk jugs, everything we could find to pour all the excess, the leftover beer from the kegs into to keep longer.
Yep.
Ziploc bags.
Basically, who brought the Franzia bag? Got to put some beer in it.
You have to drink every drop of that cake.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Doesn't
a
matter if it's
challenge.
stale or not.
Yep.
You got
Yeah.
to.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, you're not giving the liquor store beer back. That's ridiculous.
No.
All right, Kitty, kick off third round.
So with my TVs, I want the top of the line sound system.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Yeah.
I mean, if you just kind of just the TVs, we'll play TV volume. Oh no, you gotta have speakers all throughout the ceiling, on the walls. So you got hearing shoes squeak behind you on the basketball court, like they're playing right around you. So I'm gonna go with the kick-ass sound system.
I like it. Yep.
I like that too.
Not too shabby. I think that's a must, Brian.
Oh, the pick I was so excited about still sitting there.
Oh boy, good for you.
I'm assuming I'm rich and I have a huge man cave, and my man cave looks a lot like Mitchell Schwartz's that we got a preview of
Mhm.
earlier in the year. That man has a golf simulator in his basement,
Oh,
and to have a golf simulator in your man cave, my God, that sounds glorious. You can play
Yep.
any course you wanted virtually. I mean,
that's a great
those things cost like $10,000+ I feel like, but shit, it'd be cool to have in your basement.
That'd
It's
be
just a scotch better than like a Golden Tee arcade game.
Yeah.
just a touch. Well, I think those are decently expensive for if you want the actual top of the line golden tee thing. Those are all like $3,000 at least.
Mm-hmm.
So if
I'd
you're a
say that's
serious
That's
golfer,
actually a little bit more affordable than I thought it. I mean, good
if you're a
pool
serious-
tables cost
if you're a
about that.
If you're a serious golfer, that simulator will pay for itself.
Hell yes.
Yep.
So that's a great pick.
Love it.
I blew it. Just give it right
Let
to
it
you.
fall right to me.
Yep. I'm gonna go. I spend most of my main hobby is video games, so I'm gonna have the gaming system down there, and it's
Mhm.
gonna be on the projector TV, and it's gonna be. I'm not gonna miss a thing. Every fastball thrown my way is gonna be a no doubter. Every person I encounter online in Call of Duty is going to be dead shortly after, and nobody's gonna be able to hear me because it'll be in my man cave by myself most of the time.
Okay.
Yeah, that was what I didn't want to give away with my explanation of what would be on TV. I figured Josh would end up winning game system in his man cave.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
didn't think BK would take it.
True. I think the one thing you guys are forgetting that is essential to a good man cave is a bathroom on hand, because I'm not going up and down stairs.
Mm-hmm.
It's on my list, Josh.
Yep, bathroom really close on hand is, and maybe it's the wet bar sink. I mean, we're not here to judge anybody, but it might be a sink that you might find yourself peeing in. But you got to have somewhere to put that.
That's huge too.
Yes.
Yeah, you need that. You need the same level bathroom is
Mm-hmm.
very important.
Yep.
And it can be very important too, even when you're living your regular life upstairs. You just escape down to the man cave bathroom and you get left alone for a while.
So it's a downstairs bathroom job.
That's Daddy's bathroom.
Yeah.
You established that early.
Believe
like
me, you don't want any part of that.
You make it real nice. You actually put a urinal in there with a toilet.
Oh, that would be a dream.
Call. I'm gonna have to do that if I ever do this whole this man cave situation.
Yep.
Interesting. Brian, what's your final pick?
Got my recliner, beer taps, golf simulator.
Yeah, I'm sitting on the floor apparently in my man
Yeah,
cave.
I think so. I think we all are. Only BK, I got a beanbag here or something in there.
Well, I got bar stools apparently.
You got so much. Yeah, you got a lot.
True.
Well, I'm gonna add another
Good
cool
value pick on that first pick.
I'm adding another cool novelty item that not many people have, but I'm assuming I'm rich. And I'm gonna go the movie theater popcorn machine.
Oh, nice.
Interesting.
I actually
That
saw
can't
some.
be that expensive.
I went to a party, this big ass party at a guy in Columbia. He owned like a car dealership there. He hosted this Halloween party in his basement, and he had one of those popcorn machines down there. And I was like, this is the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it smells great in here, and it's actual movie theater popcorn. Because
Yeah.
you can't do that shit in the microwave. You can't even do it on top of your stove, and it's not the same thing. Get the actual machine, man. That'll change your day.
These are the ones that
Yeah.
are on the wheels, right? And on the dolly.
On the
Yep.
now, well, it's got the
Yeah.
cook thing that pop out. They flow those over the top.
Oh,
Yeah, it's got the
the
bucket in the
kettle
middle.
in there.
The kettle in the middle, and then just it's
You
got
get
the lid
the
on
big
top, and it
scoop
just
that you scoop
falls
in there and dump it
You
in the
gotta
bag.
have the scoop. You can't
Oh,
have
yeah.
that big popcorn machine and not have the huge scoop.
Yep.
Yeah,
Interesting.
that's a good. I like that. That'd be fun.
Outside the box.
It is.
Sure. Gotta like popcorn. Not that guy. Popcorn overrated.
What?
I hate
Oh,
popcorn.
here we- Popcorn's great.
Gross.
What world do we live in now?
Gets stuck in your teeth all the time. Not worth it.
God, put a little hot sauce on that shit.
That's not too shabby. Not a bad idea. Brian or Kitty.
I think I
send
saw
us home
someone
here.
sprinkle some like cayenne pepper on the popcorn.
I'm not mad at that.
Seemed like a decent idea. Well, since Josh took most of my picks with all his this giant bar with neon signs, dartboard, and everything else,
I didn't say dartboard. I don't darts are out of here.
I am going to take my own version of a gaming system, and I'm putting the Miss Pac-Man arcade machine in there.
Uh-huh.
That's my favorite arcade game. I love playing Miss Pac-Man. You better not be slow, Miss Pac-Man. I want fast Miss Pac-Man. Only way to play it. Only way to play it.
Do you want like an original, or do you want? I mean, they have those
I
arcade
would
games
be
that
okay
have the
with the,
multiple games in it.
I'd be okay with the Miss Pac-Man Galaga combo machine.
Okay.
The one you normally see anymore in arcades.
Yep.
whenever that got put whenever those two games got put together, that was a great move.
Yep.
You know, I think it's on the old man wall at Dave and Buster's. All right, there's going to be dads in here, so give them the freaking Miss Pac-Man machine, Galaga. Let's put it under the stairs so no one goes near them. Just throw them in the corner. So, but I love the Miss Pac-Man game.
Put them under the stairs.
Yeah,
that's the perfect spot.
I know. I remember. I went to Dave and Buster's a long time ago, and there was a Miss Pac-Man, but it was very off to the side by itself, almost, with a couple other like Double Dragon and stuff like that.
Ooh, in the employees only lounge.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Miss Pac-Man, love that game.
That's not bad. I had an arcade game on mine.
Built.
Yep.
Oh, these are gonna be. This
Lord
is a glorious party.
When I originally thought about this, shuffleboard table was way high on my list.
Yeah, it's in
That's
there.
a good one too.
It's
That's
on my list.
I need
Pool
some of that
table.
in my life. Yeah.
You got to have a sports shrine.
Yes. Let me just say, the pride and joy piece of memorabilia, I think, is the conversation starter that everybody asks about when they come over.
But we're dreaming big here.
Yes,
I can throw I've got my 2 300 bowling pins in that shrine.
There you go. Yep. I say you were on some of the episodes that we started out in video. You were recording in front of them.
Yeah.
Kind of like Brian's all.
Oh right, yeah, that's right. I just put the pins behind me. I just hang it from the ceiling right here.
There you go. I like that idea a lot.
Just hold them the time. Hold them the entire time.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yep. There's holding these heavy, perfect game 300 pins.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get to the final segment before we get to two in the weeds here. Hey, it's the best bet. Hey, it's the best bet. Best bet. Last week, 3-2 after Kitty doubled down. He picked Denver +6, I believe. And then when every quarterback that's ever entered the Denver Broncos facility went down on the COVID list, I did allow him to double up. I didn't allow him to change his bet because we're not going to compromise the integrity of this game. But he then did add Tampa Bay +3.5, and they barely squeaked in on that.
What a backdoor cover.
Yep. So all in all, we were 3-2 last week, bringing us to 23-21 on the year.
Whoa.
Barely. We were off to a real hot start, and we came right back down to earth.
We're doing a little doggy paddle.
Yep. We did have the Thanksgiving slate last week. Still waiting on the Baltimore and Pittsburgh outcome, but Kitty and Brian are both correct answers between the other two games. It's going to come down to the over/under of 46 points. We'll see what RG3's got in him. We'll see how that goes.
I'm not confident. I'll say that right now about both my picks, Baltimore and the over.
Yep. But Brian picked Baltimore's too, but he picked the under. So we'll
let's do a little RG3 shock the
we
world.
We get the new line now.
No.
I think we have to stick. If I got Denver +6, we got to keep Baltimore plus.
Do you get to change the line on Vegas? You do not.
No,
you do not.
You're locked in.
So let's go with the best bet for that week. I'm going to get you guys going first because I'm a gentleman. So Kitty, what do you got for your best bet this week?
Appreciate it, John. I had a couple circled, a couple of my teams I don't believe in this week. Really don't like seeing that Niners game get moved out of San Francisco area.
Yeah, that was weird.
Just
Santa Clara now?
Santa Clara says no contact sports anymore. So I guess we got to leave.
And they end up in Flagstaff?
They're going down to, they're playing in Arizona.
Yeah.
That was So I'm going to go with Atlanta Falcons +3.5 versus New Orleans.
Yep, I looked at that.
I mean, they just played them at New Orleans 2 weeks ago, lost 24-9. This was the first game with Taysom at QB, so it was really the first full game you get tape on him. Denver played a really good first quarter and a half on him, but then they again, like we mentioned earlier, they realized what's the point? We can't score anything. We're not going to score any points, so
they
kind of gave up. So I think this is a little sneaky, tough game for New Orleans, and I like Atlanta to keep it close this week.
Okay. I like it. Brian, what do you got?
I had a couple games written down here. I got to make a gut choice. I got to stick true to my heart. I'm going college ball, Saturday morning, 11 o'clock.
There we go.
The goddamn Arkansas Razorbacks are coming to town, Columbia, getting 3 points. Mizzou's won 4 straight against these bums, and it ain't going to change this week. Don't do it to me, boys. Every time they suck me in, they kick me in the nuts at some point. Don't let it be this week. I think Mizzou's going to win by at least a touchdown, so I'll lay the 3. This game means a lot to both these teams. Barry Odom doesn't want to get embarrassed. Eli doesn't want to lose to Barry Odom's defense. Eli grew up in Arkansas. This game means something to him. I mean, there's going to be a lot of emotions in this game.
Yep.
And I like the way Mizzou's been playing lately. I know Arkansas has been frisky, and Felipe Franks has been slinging it around really well. But I like our defense. They've been solid here the last few weeks. So I'm going to trust them. And they're gonna kick me in the nuts again, Joe. But I gotta roll with my boys. Mizzou -3 Saturday morning.
You said 11 o'clock?
Yeah, 11 a.m. start in Columbia. They're doing their senior day pro. Even though they're probably going to host a game later, they're going to go ahead and do their senior day game now in case it doesn't happen. So
Yeah, you probably should do that. Don't want to get caught with your pants down on that.
yeah. And it's a weird thing, too, because the NCAA is allowing all these guys to basically play for free as far as eligibility goes.
Yeah.
So there's some seniors that have decided they're already that they're coming back and playing another year next year. There are some that are going to walk, but they don't know yet if they're going to come back next year. So it's kind of just a weird senior day.
2 senior days.
Yeah, could be.
Let's do it.
Could be.
Might as well. It's a weird year. Yeah. Well, if you're going to go with your team, I'm going to go with my team. I said I used it earlier. Kansas City -14.5 against Denver. And the last 3 games, which is every game that Drew Lock has started for the Denver Broncos, the Chiefs have won by an average of 23.7 points. And there is no reason why they will not be able to cover 14.5 this week. Not only the Chiefs do cover 14.5, but I think the defense or special teams scores a touchdown this week.
Oh, calling shot.
Yep.
Oh, I like it. Get that
You
back.
Probably
little
get a
addition.
prop bet on that.
The 14.5, too easy. Too easy to get. So I need to
Famous
spice
last
it up.
words.
Yep. No way that's gonna bite me. No way is that gonna bite me.
That 14.5 hook, there's no way it bites you.
No way. That's disrespectful for the Chiefs.
Uh-huh.
No way that they don't cover that on
No
prime
way
time.
they don't sleepwalk in this game.
Yep. No worries. Well, that's going to do it here for the Clearing Waivers podcast this week. We appreciate each and every one of you joining us once again. Give us a shout out on Twitter and social media at Clearing Waivers. If you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel. You get updates. Hit the bell while you're there. It'll get you notifications of whenever there's a new episode, so you don't have to follow us and trust us every Wednesday morning because stuff happens sometimes. It doesn't happen. So just hit the bell. It'll notify you whenever if you got a Gmail email address, it'll automatically go to it. So you can sign up there if you haven't already. Follow the podcast. Give it to a friend or a family member. See if they enjoy it. Take them to the Plaza Lighting Festival or whatever they might want to do, and on the way listen to a Clearing Waivers podcast. It'll be a great time for all. But shout out to the Heartland Pod. Go give them a look if you're into the politics game. Great stuff there. Go check out the Hollow Ends. Their music is very good as well, so give them a shout out as well. Shout out to Rants. Miss you, bud. We'll see you next time. But for Brian and Kitty and myself, we appreciate you one more time. Top for now.
The day is done. Now the night has begun. the flames. Don't go, oh, somebody walking away. Hold your body close to the flames. Don't go, oh, somebody walking away. Oh, a loaded gun. Pressed against my brow, 'cause I wonder how all this undone. Holding fast to a vow, 'cause I laugh aloud. 'Cause I have faith that nobody else can protect you, no. While pages burning will all be dead under virgin snow. I have faith that nobody else can protect you, no. While pages burning will all be dead under virgin snow. So hold your body close to the flames. Don't go, somebody walking away. Oh, hold your body close to the flames. Don't go, somebody walking away. Oh. Hold your body close to the flame.